I will eat my words. He is making me look stupid. He's definitely looking more like a day one type guy right now with what he's doing. 4.4. I wish I could run a 4.4. I run a 4.4.
Right.
I run a 4.4 to the refrigerator, but that's about it.
Deuce Adams. My critique is he needs more reps in full live go so he can get used to the chaos of the pocket and keeping your eyes downfield. But man, he can sling it. And the ball just pops out of his hand effortlessly when he flicks his wrist. Hello and welcome to a special two-man episode of From the Pink Seats podcast here on the State of Louisville Podcast Network. I'm producer Keith. With me is Vince Lococo, and we're talking spring ball today. We made it out. We finally got some open practices. I was able to get out, get eyes on. It wasn't much football, but it was football.
Day one's always rough, brother. Yeah. It's always rough.
I wasn't the only one out there. We were able to get some high-profile kids on campus to check out some practices who were just wrapping up some visits as of this Thursday evening. But first, we got the NFL Scouting Combine. We're not going to forget about our guys just like that.
No.
So just for a quick little recap of the NFL Scouting Combine, Vince, we watched it. I mean, I don't think anyone really did anything too unexpected. Like Corey Brooks didn't run any tests. Right. He just did the on-field drills.
Which, as we were talking before, is probably the smart thing to do for him. Not really sure if he would test that well in maybe the 40. He doesn't seem – I don't know. I mean, I'm just guessing. Spitball.
That's what the pro day's for.
Exactly. Pro day's for that. I mean, and obviously pro day's designed for a guy like him to just absolutely eat. So why not go to the combine, do what you're best at, get out healthy, and get on the next thing.
Yeah, especially when you're in a position like him where unless you do absolutely insanely well in like the 40 and the vertical jump, you're probably not going to increase your stock a ton. Get out there with anything on the field anyway. Get out there, get some interviews in, connect with some people to see, because he'll probably end up being – which is wild to me, like late day 2, day 3. And then once you get to day 3, it might be better just to go undrafted so you can sign where you want. We saw that with like Malik a couple of years ago.
But like my thing, like injury prevention wise, like that's probably huge for Brooks. You see guys all the time run at least 1 or 2 a year that run that 40-yard dash, pop their hamstring. Every year.
And it's also a weird thing because where everyone's running in the exact same spot over and over and over, combined with the laser timing mechanism, you're going to run slow unless you're getting out there early.
You heard Eric Wood talk about that on Twitter. I don't know if you heard that. I heard him talk about it. He's like, when I ran my 40-yard dash, he's like, I saw I think JJ Watt was talking shit to him. He's like, I saw, which is hilarious that JJ Watt talking shit to you, but that's besides the point. He said, I scooted over just a little bit to like the right or left because he saw all those pebbles right in front of him. He's like, I think that really helped get like the 1/10 of a second I needed.
Hey man, when you're fighting for time, anything that you
whatever it takes. If I was a GM, I'd be like, this guy's smart right here. That's a center being able to analyze what's going on in front of him.
Yeah. Speaking of the 40-yard dash, we had Quincy out there. He did on the field, and he also participated in the 40-yard dash, put up a 4.48, which I don't think is particularly surprising. We knew he had speed, not NFL elite speed, but pretty damn good speed, and 4.48, pretty solid time. And then he did well in the on-field drills from everything I saw as well. So I think he held court as well.
The awesome thing with Quincy that I loved, that drill where they have to turn, catch the ball, run down the line, catch the ball, turn, keep running down the line. With DBs a lot of time, and even receivers, man, like this is a drill that we did with Brew all the time because with the rub routes and things like that, but DBs especially. You see that first, second ball get thrown at them, they're off that line completely and they have to zig back over. And it's like, that's not what they want to see at all. Quincy looked phenomenal in that one. 40, I mean, shit, 4.4. I wish I could run a 4.4. I run a 4.4
right?
I run a 4.4 to the refrigerator, but that's about it.
So you mentioned the pass catching drill. That just always makes me think of I can't remember who it was, but turned the wrong way and then turned his face at the last second and just gets plugged with
I think that was
ball.
like last year, 2 years ago, man. That's Quincy, though, he looks smooth catching the ball too. A lot of times DBs look clunky as hell trying to catch the football. He looked great.
Yeah. Know who else actually looked pretty damn good? Ashton Gillotte, which we expected that going in. Like the kid's in the weight room all the damn time. Like, okay, he's going to test well, and really showed off the leg strength with a 36.5-inch vertical and 10-foot broad jump. Like Ashton, yeah, we were pretty banged up at the start of the basketball season, man. Why didn't you get out here and cram for us?
I'm sure PK, like, he still has basketball eligibility. I'm sure PK would take him on roster right now. I mean, the dude's been squatting 500 pounds since he was 18 years old. This is nothing but expected from Ashton. I mean,
also participated on field. The one thing that surprised me with him, 24 on the bench press. I say that as someone who my career high was like 15. So,
all right. So Max Martin, if you're listening, you're gonna love this conversation because this is the same shit. I'm finally caving into you, what you've told me my entire life. Ashton is what, like 6'4"? I mean, that's a long way for the arms to go down. Whereas a guy like me, 5'10", 5'11", I'm sitting over here, boom, 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 boom. So I mean, I'm gonna give him a little grace on that, especially with the D line. I mean, where's all your strength and power coming from, Keith?
Oh yeah, that's all legs, man.
All hips and legs. So I mean, 22 on bench, so that is low.
24, don't sell him short.
24.
Plus, I'm curious if he was trying to cut for some more agility for some of the on-field drills, things like that, because the strength goes so fast. If you start cutting, it's wild.
You probably wouldn't want to like tire yourself out on the bench press too, like that's not really the most important of drills unless you're Brady Quinn.
Yeah. So, though on field looked well, and I don't think he hurt his stock any. If anything, probably raised it up a little bit because he was one of the top performers of all edge rushers when it came to the vertical leap and the broad jump. So Ashton, fruitful combine.
We're talking D-line right now. For just talking that D-line position, DN position as a whole, that Arkansas
edge rusher, the turnaround for that kid.
What and I mean, they were giving him hell for that too. Like,
he
was like, I was 18 years old. Like, sorry, or 17, like whatever.
So for those of you who don't know, edge rusher for Arkansas, and it was, I guess at this point, 3-4 years ago. There's a video and it's like a high school elite combine or something like that. And he's going through the pass rusher drill, and it is the most passive, like slapping of the pad and going around it.
I just want to grab him and be like, unlock your fucking hips! Unlock your hips!
And it's just, and then he turns around and was a rock star at the NFL combine and just climbing up draft boards. So, what a turnaround, man. Good on him.
Yeah, that was definitely stock rising.
And you know who else? Sneakily, stock rising. Tyler Shough.
Dude.
Like, ever since we brought him in, you and me were on the side of like, hey, guy's probably a day 3 draft pick. If he plays well enough, could play himself up into day 2. I might have underestimated him with the love he's getting. It's starting to have me think maybe a team trades into that 32 spot and sneaks a pick on Tyler Shough just for the extra year on the rookie deal.
I will eat my words. He is making me look stupid. He's definitely looking more like a day 1 type guy right now with what he's doing. And I mean, how could you not like Tyler over a lot of these quarterbacks? Quinn, especially. Quinn Ewers is the one that you look at. It seems like Shedeur and Cam Ward have that 1-2 spot locked up. Shedeur, for whatever reason, not 1-2 in the draft, but they'll be the first 2 quarterbacks off the board, is what I mean by that.
And now granted, I am a homer. I am wearing a Louisville shirt right now.
Yeah,
I'd take Tyler Shough over Shedeur.
I would as well. I mean, just pocket awareness, the way he throws the ball. Shedeur puts way too much loft under the ball. That's a lot of the balls that he throws, I think, are pickable balls at the NFL level. I mean, we'll have to see, though. I think that the real comparison, what teams are looking at right now, is should I really take Quinn Ewers? Because once they start pulling trigger on quarterbacks, The other ones will
They're
start
going to go
fall.
quick.
Exactly. It's like, I mean, same as fantasy football. We all know. We all do it. But like, yeah, it's going to be between Tyler and Quinn. And
Jackson Dart's in that conversation too. But
see, I don't know. I don't understand the hype behind Jackson Dart. I don't.
Kyle McCord, also another guy that teams are looking at, which he put up very gaudy numbers, but you've seen him against elite competition like he was at Ohio State, so that might scare. Really, it's just what GMs are going to fall in love with what player. Everything we've been seeing on social media the past couple of weeks have been different analysts like Field Yates, Lou Riddick. I saw earlier today, Mina Kimes, all of them just very impressed with Tyler Shough's tape. And I love that almost all of them are always using the clip of the Notre Dame game where he throws the crossbody throw, getting hit in the mouth, just dart.
Like, we'll take my dad's team, the Raiders, for an example, who had Aiden O'Connell as their starting quarterback. I'm sure they would much rather have Tyler Shough than Aiden O'Connell. And I mean, Aiden O'Connell is getting these opportunities. So an opportunity will arise for Tyler Shough, and I'm very confident he will take full advantage of it. He has way more Brock Purdy vibes than he does like Jared Stidham or like some random other backup quarterback who was good in college that's not, gonna pan out. And I don't know, like he just has a lot more upside to him, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think he will land in a great spot where he can.
Shit, we're Dolphins fans. I'll take him.
1,000,000%
talking about? I'll take Tyler Shough right now.
1,000,000% on board. If you want to make a trip down to Miami, Tyler, me and Vince will take you to the airport.
Yeah,
personal chauffeur service.
Yeah, we will. Yeah,
but it's going to be curious where he goes. Like, if a team decides to jump up into the end of the first and actually give him a shot to be a starter right off the bat, or I mean, hell, he'd be a value pick late. Like if he makes it late second, early third round, if that's the way the draft flows and people don't go after these quarterbacks, that's going to be such a value pick. And it's like, okay, cool. And even if he goes to a team that already has a starting quarterback, I know a lot of people have thrown out like Pittsburgh would be a great destination for him. So you can sit behind
San Francisco. They will
also
they will
would be
franchise they'll likely franchise Brock Purdy this year. I foresee Brock Purdy likely not playing that well. Oh, who do you put in? Oh, let's put in this second, third round quarterback that we drafted.
Do we pay him? Do we not? Yeah,
exactly, man. These are see, like he's gonna slide into Purdy, a Jalen Hurts. Like he's gonna fall. I hope that. I mean, we say that we want him as Dolphins fans. We're not that organization type class. You know what I mean? He's going to fall. I think Tyler's going to fall to a good organization, and he's going to find himself. Pittsburgh would be a great spot too. I mean, like a good spot.
I would love him to go to Tennessee and take that starting job for reasons.
What reasons are that?
Spite. Petty spite.
I can get behind that.
But testament to how well Tyler Shough played this year, stayed healthy, put together great tape, put together a hell of a performance. Loved him gassing up the crowd after his 4.6 240, by the way. That was electric.
Dude, I wish like he would have done that at some point. I feel like Tyler played at Mr. Cool all year. That was like the most energy I saw out of him all season. That was electric. I loved it.
Would have loved some of that juice. Also, 32-inch vert on Tyler Shough.
Cooper? Maybe.
Right? I threw out a joke after his combine numbers came out, and I was like, that athleticism ain't so sneaky anymore now, is it?
No. He probably feels so good, right? Could you imagine how good Tyler Shough's body feels right now, Keith? A dude that has been getting beat up literally his entire collegiate career, and he finally has like a month to just train, chill, get his mind right, get his body. I mean, could you oh my gosh, he probably feels like a whole brand new man. I'm not surprised he went and tested this well.
First time in what? 3-4 years this time of year, he's probably not all beat to hell or just physically rehabbing an injury.
Rehabbing an injury back, yeah. I mean, so good on the kid.
Yeah, rooting for him. God, manifesting to the universe. The Finns, like, Go get him at 32. I mean, I'm all out on Tua anyway. Go get him at 32. Let's rock with Shough.
I've been out on Tua, but we don't. We need a whole new show for that conversation.
Yeah. Shuck if you buck, baby. Let's go.
And McDaniel would get behind that. Come on, Mike, get him.
So to transition off the NFL now, I was out at spring ball first couple of days of practice. Went out, of course. Team was in.
We're going undefeated, right? I mean, one practice. Yeah, okay.
One practice.
Let's get that
undefeated, running the table, conference champs, national champs. But pleasantly surprised at how smooth things ran. No one had any over-the-top fuck-ups. No drills got ruined because of one or two people just constantly screwing things up. No one got devastatingly injured. There was one minor injury that was kind of hilarious. So day one, they do their individuals and then they come together for a team period. Then they break out, come back together for another team period before the end. So I guess Coach Brum wanted to lower the risk of injury. So they had go without helmets for the second team period, except the quarterbacks. So you go through, and I didn't notice it at the time, but after one of the plays, Coach Brum goes up and he's talking to the D line, and like I'm seeing him like hand signal, and I'm like, okay, the D linemen are being D linemen, and they're obviously being overzealous, going crazy on day one of practice, even though no helmets are on.
That's the easiest time for them to get TFLs, bro. Let them have their moment. As an offensive lineman.
So day two, we come out there. I'm out there, and we're on the sidelines, and I overhear Coach Brum talking, and he's like, yeah, well, we were doing that. Didn't quite go the way we wanted to, so probably not going to do that again. And turns out someone got hit and busted up and had to go get a couple stitches after practice. So, of course, I hear that, and I'm immediately starting to scan the field, look for who it is. And, of course, senior leader Pete Nygra is the only guy who's in the warm-up line, the stretching lines, who doesn't have a helmet on. And he's got this big black, like, not quite bandana, but like half bandana, half headband thing going around. And I'm like, oh, Nygra definitely got his face busted in team. And he finished the practice. So
what was probably going on was probably the D-line, like you said, was going a little bit too extra, and Nygra probably had enough of it and stuck his head where it's supposed to go, and that likely leads to some bleeding. But I loved it. I loved the intense. I mean, dude, would you rather be having people like guys getting cut up and banged up like that, or would you rather Coach Owen sitting over here, where's the energy? Where's the effort? Oh, like, no, I'd much rather be having UFC fight type, not like actual fights, but like guys getting cut up and banged up like that.
Physicality in the team period, but to go back on Nygra, like it's hard to really take away a ton of evaluation from 2 days of shirts and short practice.
Right.
Pete Nygra is a hell of a ball player, man. I'm so glad we got him. Like day one, brought the energy, did everything, obviously starting center one. And day two, participated in all the individual drills. Just the only thing he couldn't participate in was team period because I guess no helmet for practice while face is recovering. I think it was more forehead than face. So.
That's one way to get out of spring practice early. Just saying, Pete. I'm just saying, Pete. I'm just saying.
Well, that's one of the things that impressed me the most about him. Like day two, he's not able to do that the whole team period. He's not in. He's coaching the younger O-linemen up on the sidelines, helping with assignments, getting guys in the right place, letting them know what to do. And then, like, even so, after the second team period, they break out to finish practice. A couple O-linemen stayed late to do a little extra work. Pete Nygra's right there with him doing the extra work as a redshirt senior, already a starter. Doesn't have to do that, is doing it anyway. So was incredibly impressed with the leadership displayed by Pete Nygra, and I'm so freaking excited to see what he can do this upcoming season.
All right, it's question time. Is there a legitimate QB1 battle based off of a beard?
I don't know about a QB1 battle. Of course, first thing we should have talked about was quarterbacks. That's what gets the clicks, baby. The quarterback.
Well, we gotta save it for like the middle, you know.
You gotta get that watch time.
It's like hockey. Like we lead off with the fight, and then we get to the.
Hold on, Vince. We got to give our best thumbnail face for me talking about Miller Moss. Feel free to clip those and use them for the thumbnail. But no, Miller Moss is QB1, and he was as delivered. If anything, I was a little bit more impressed with some of the zip he had on some intermediate throws than what appeared to show up on tape. I know
right.
of the Miller Moss debate on this podcast. Yeah. We had the two detractors on now, but the touch that he's able to throw with on some is so impressive. Now, there were some mistakes made, but it's literally day one of spring ball.
Right.
Like, I'm nowhere near the panic button. If anything, I'm more optimistic because he had some nice throws. Now, QB1 next year, I think we've got him on the roster.
That's
refreshing. And yeah, it's Deuce Adams. My critique is he needs more reps in full live go so he can get used to the chaos of the pocket and keeping your eyes downfield. But man, he can sling it, and the ball just pops out of his hand effortlessly when he flicks his wrist. He's made a couple of probably two of the three most impressive throws of the two open practices so far.
I love that.
Just, it's electric. I'm very excited to see what Deuce Adams has in store in future years.
Watch. I think after the first full padded scrimmage, this is my early prediction. Coach Braun will come out and say, yeah, Deuce, we decided to have him go full go and have him live for this, and he handled it very well. He made some mistakes as expected, but he handled it very well. I expect that comment and that phrase to come out of Coach Brown's mouth after the first week of spring ball, because I remember when Malik was getting his first, go around at playing and starting and stuff. And I think it was spring ball with Sat, as a matter of fact, that where he went live on the quarterbacks because like, in my opinion, a guy like Miller likely doesn't need to go live. Tyler, Miller, maybe Jack Plummer. I don't, but like, those guys don't need to be live. But a younger guy, especially a guy with much talent and as promising as Deuce, you might want to see if he can go live on at least day one. What do you have to lose on day one? So, and even then, when they say he goes live, if a DN is screaming off the blind side, they're going to blow the whistle dead. And he's also not going to kill his teammate.
I don't know, man. D lineman, some suspect characters.
Okay, yeah, I say that, and I've seen it, the quarterback being. I've seen somebody hit Lamar Jackson in the pocket. Let's just say that.
A lot of conditioning done for that individual the rest of the practice.
I think he is still running.
But you mentioned not needing to go live, and another thing that really stood out to me, Miller Moss, fantastic movement in the pocket, just able to maneuver around blocks and things like that. But before we continue to other position groups, subscribe if you haven't already. If you made it this far, you obviously like what we're talking about. Get in there, hit that subscribe button if you haven't. Audio feed, make sure you're following the State of Louisville podcast feed. Hop in, follow all of our podcasts. So we've got Louisville basketball, we've got football. Got it. We got the major sports. We got baseball ramping up right now. The baseball team looking good.
Fun. Oh my God! Tap into 3rd and Central. I promise you will not regret. Those guys are killing it. It's so good.
So get in there, get us subscribed to all the podcasts. So other notes: the running backs, Isaac, Duke. Yeah, as is Isaac. One on a running back. It's a little suspect to me, but I think I can get behind it.
Hey, I would have. If you're going to be the best player on the field and you want to call your number one, I'm all for it.
Also, backtrack. I said we were done with quarterbacks. One thing, annoying thing to me, Deuce. Why are you not number 2? He's 13. That throws me off.
Yeah, he definitely should be number 2. And I'm not a big believer of quarterbacks being number 13. I think that's bad luck.
Well, I mean, it's because we had the best number 13 with Miami.
Yes, that is true. That has nothing to do with, quarterbacks I've had in previous lives being number 13, losing games, but go ahead.
So just a little off topic there. Tight end room, Nate Kariski. He's looking the part, man. He is like, what's that?
Have him more standing up, or was he more hand in the dirt type deal? Because for me, I'd like to see him more, at least during spring ball, because this is the time to play around with some stuff. Let's put him at that 3rd receiver spot. Let's put him in the tight split spot where he's standing up. He's on the ball, on the line of scrimmage, hands not in the dirt, but he's in a tight splits, tighter to the tackle. Just different things to get Nate more involved. The tight end position as a whole more involved.
We did see some of that. We also saw him hand in the dirt with dual tight end sets with Dylan Messman and Jaleel Skinner standing up right off the hip. So like a dual tight end set. And Jaleel Skinner, man, he's another player just like AJ Green. I feel like could use a few more pounds, but I wouldn't be shocked if we see him get put out in the slot and use him as like a third receiver with that build.
Right.
Because he's right in that sort of tweener thing. Dylan Messman, he looks like he's catching up to speed. He's looked pretty good. Looks like he might be a little banged up and still out there practicing, getting some tape, which I think is a fantastic thing. But now, like what's the joke? Like an old Toyota pickup truck, though. Nate Kariski, man. He's just always there, always reliable.
That thing's always going to start the first time.
Exactly. And he's looked good, though. So I've been impressed with the tight end side. Grant Hauser, not able to practice. He's injured. And now, I'm not a doctor, but I'm going to guess he's probably going to be out for an extended period of time.
I'm not a doctor.
So
that's the best phrase on this show. The amount of times we've had to be like, no, we're not doctors. But if we were, this is what we would analyze it as.
Which I was talking to a friend of the show, Keith Wynn, at the first practice, and I was like, I think Grant Hauser's a kid I could get real excited about. Like, we'll be able to see him. I think he can play some H-back. And of course, I see him come by with the medical equipment that he's currently wearing, and I was like, well, I think I'm wrong on that take this year.
Good thing I didn't put that one on air yet.
Unfortunately, he's injured, but the 3 tight ends we've had going so far, and also I left my roster. There's a walk-on kid. Now I'm gonna get his name, and I'll be sure to bring it up on the next episode to give him credit. There's a walk-on tight end who's been getting the number 4 reps. Okay. He's looked pretty solid.
That's awesome.
I've been pleasantly surprised.
I mean, like, this time period right now for walk-ons is the biggest, most crucial time period you have, because like you'll never have this much of an edge on like the scholarship football players coming in. It's like these freshmen, this is about the only time you'll have an edge on them. I mean, let's just be real. Like, a walk-on is less skilled than what you would hope a 4 3-star any player, scholarship player, is going to be. So I mean, if they have been in their playbook like they should have been in the fall and come in here in the spring, and coach puts them on the board and they know their shit, and then they go out there on the field and they know their shit, don't be surprised if you walk into some playing time at some point.
You're gonna hate this, Vince.
I saw
Hamilton Atkins, redshirt freshman from St. X.
All right, yep, that's. Dude, the picture that Coach Wallace posted the other day on social media. Jeff, what are we doing? There is like 5 St. X kids on roster. Like, what are we doing? No loyalty to the brand anymore, man.
Hey,
all right.
If you ball out, we'll go get you.
Yeah, I know. I'd rather win football games too.
O-line and D-line, it's kind of tough. I know O-line, Austin Collins is battling something, so he wasn't able to participate. So the returning players were getting the reps with the ones. So Rasheed Miller was at its starting tackle spot. Trevante Sylvester was at the other tackle. Nygra at center. And then it was Lance Robinson and Nair Jackson were the 2 guards.
Okay.
So, and Nair looked really good. So,
and of course, position. I mean, you can put a less talented tackle at that spot sometimes, or maybe even a dumber center, and just let them eat, man. I mean, that guard position's fine. I always love watching guards.
Also, I think another reason that could have played into that was Vic Cutler. He's also banged up, wasn't able to participate the first couple of days.
Yep.
But a lot of the transfers getting reps with the 2s, and that could just be playbook install related. Again, it's the first 2 days of spring ball. We don't know how.
You can't tell everything about the team yet. That is so bullshit. I thought this was a football podcast.
Right. On the defensive side of the ball, looked pretty solid.
How did my boy Antonio Harris look? I've seen people talk highly of him at practice. I'm excited for this.
Antonio Harris. He got that dog in him. Like, got matched up with Chris Bell a couple of times and did a pretty good job.
That kid's going to play this year, man. That kid's going to play.
Yeah.
He's got talent.
He got a nice interception off of Mason Mims in the young player period.
Right. I mean, if he whenever he's in those periods, he's got to eat. I mean, you have to make it look like you shouldn't even be on the field with some of these with the freshmen.
Yeah. CJ May, he was in the young player period a lot, and he also got some reps with the twos. Like him and Clev Lubin were both running in that 2 group.
Right.
But some more guys like Woo Spencer, Selah Brown looked really good. Jordan Girard, of course, he's up with the ones now. He's looking great.
Right.
Renee Conga with the twos. That one kind of surprised me a little bit, but that could also be a motivational tactic.
Yeah, you never know what's going on.
Just as a whole, things look solid. Caleb Perry, the transfer from Tennessee, he looked solid at the linebacker spot. And now Stan Kwan also banged up, so he didn't go the first 2 days. So he got a few more chances for some reps. TJ Caper got some chance for some reps. Everyone's moving well. Like it's shaping up.
Those are times where like you're the one, and it's like you're seeing these younger guys that, I mean, they don't bring these younger guys in to sit; they bring them in to play. So I mean, that's some extra motivation for Stan Kwan, extra motivation for TJ to continue to do and improve on what you did last year, and not just stay stagnant.
Yeah, just a couple last points. Rodney Jackson. That is a grown-ass man out in
He looks like it, bro.
I would not be shocked to see us just explicitly have him follow around the other team's biggest receiver for the sole purpose of avoiding a sort of height mismatch.
Yeah.
Dude is huge.
He looks hungry as hell, too. Like, he looks like he wants to come in and prove a point that he belongs, and I'm excited as hell for him.
Yeah. Oh, another fun story to wrap up. It was after the first day of practice. I don't know what they did wrong and when it happened throughout the course of practice, but buddy, it was Capers, Gordon, the transfer from Baylor, and Hutchinson. Coach English took them aside, and it was like during a special teams block, and wore their asses out, just like having them just roll on their side about halfway down a practice field and then do up downs running the way back down the field, and was just dogging them
Keith,
whole time.
You've been around college football. That seems like an on-time punishment for me. Somebody or multiple people might have been late to a meeting or a lunch or a study hall, and you got to start. The rolls. Once you start rolling, that's a punishment. That's awful, dude. I never had to do that one. I actually never had to do a punishment in college, but I mean that's. Ugh.
So had a couple of punishments, not college, but high school for getting a little feisty and fighting in practice or in training camp. Well, and what they did was the great unifier of, so we had to do like somersault rolls. So not rolling on your side, but actual somersault and rolls.
Right.
And then they followed it with running the snake. So like, and they weren't nice. They didn't make it every 10 yards, just every 5 yards across the field, end zone to end zone. And I'm like, Coach, you're making me run a 5K. I'm a lineman.
One of my favorite coaches at Trinity, Nathan Leslie, made 2 guys hold hands and run around the field one time. But I mean, they were like 2 of the best friends, and we're laughing at the end. You know, the typical like start out fighting, and he's like big old country dude, played at Marshall. Unbelievable offensive and defensive line coach. But he was like typical redneck. Y'all best friends. Hold hands and run around the damn field. Go. That's what he would always go.
Hop into those comments. Leave your funniest football punishments you've seen or been exposed to. Leave that also in the audio reviews as well. I really want to confuse Jacob when he has to look at this. So before we transition, any other questions about spring ball before we move into the last little bit of the show?
For me, mine just has to – I'm waiting on pads to get on, man. As you know, if you can't tell much about football players until the pads get on. Yeah. You can be the sexiest, best football player you want to be without pads on. But until you take a lick, until you deliver a lick, it doesn't really matter.
It sure was awfully convenient that the first day players had pads on for a practice, and some of that video footage we saw was the first day that there weren't open practices for some reason.
Bullshit.
The 2 weeks in between the first open practices and the next, that's so cool. And I get it.
Did y'all ever do Oklahoma drills and stuff like that in college?
Oh, yeah.
See, we only had like 1 or 2 days of it with Coach Petrino and Coach Satterfield each, like during spring. It would always be like 1 day during spring and 1 day during fall camp. We would do it. And it's because it would be so intense. Like we would my God, it would be the most intense locked in drill. But like at the college level, I mean, it's fun at the high school level because I mean, usually you're bullying somebody around. But I mean, college, oh my God, like I wish I could have been a fly on the wall for that first pad practice for these guys.
It's a very make or break sort of drill just because it's okay, yeah, you're going to get the competition level through the friggin' roof. You're probably going to have a couple guys get injured.
Dude, and the helmets. I don't miss the first day. Oh,
neck soreness.
Pain. Oh my God. Yeah, I'm so happy. I'm done with football.
Yeah. I had to go back and remember. It's like, yeah, we did Oklahoma in college. I remember this is just me being an old man. We still had bull in the ring. That wasn't severely frowned upon back when I was in high school. Yeah. So,
dude, best story of all time about college Oklahoma is with Charlie Strong's team. Have you ever heard that one?
No, please do tell.
Charlie didn't like Colin Holba told me this story. If Holba, if you're listening, confirm the story. Whatever. You might have to fact check me. But I think they were stretching, and Charlie didn't like the way they were stretching. Blew it dead. Yeah, blew the stretching dead. Said, "Goal line right now." And they all hit the goal line, and they're doing like red zone goal line drill before it, like immediately. And I want to say it was either Burgess or Kelsey, one of those dudes. Outside zone play hit like Rad or somebody so hard that the helmet chipped off their helmet. Hobo was like, that was my first experience to like full pads with college football. He's like, I mean, that's the best part though. That's some stuff Coach Brown would do too, though. I mean, like that's what you gotta love about football coaches.
Oh my God, I love that. Because now it makes me wonder with Coach Strong, do you think that someone just gave him the wrong idea when he said on the goal line, like, oh, it's supposed to be for conditioning? Nope, we're running goal line.
Yeah, right, bro. I don't know. He was a crazy dude from what I heard. I mean, he had the guys running stadium stairs with weights in their backpacks and a whole bunch of. I mean, there's a reason those teams were the way they were. For sure.
Yeah. For the last little segment, I wasn't the only one who was attending some of these open practices and attending practices in the spring. Louisville football, we're dipping our toe into a little bit of deeper recruiting waters, it seems now.
This has to make you feel so good, Keith.
Oh, yes. I'm loving to see it. And I think part of that could be driven by the fact that teams are doing a better job holding on to their players, at least for this first wave of the portal window, because we saw some position groups after 3-4 days, the cupboard was completely bare.
Right.
So I think maybe that's going to cause teams to focus more on high school recruiting and developing, and then focus their assets on trying to retain and develop their own talent again. So in a weird way, NIL and player movement might lead back to things going back to being the same damn thing as the way they were.
You need high school kids, Keith. You've been saying it this whole time. I mean, you do.
Yeah. But a couple of the high school kids we've got that have come out to either practices earlier in the week or some were attended the basketball game last night. We're at practice today. So just a couple of names to keep your eyes out for. And of course, the first one, Caden Jones, running back out of Oklahoma. He's a 4-star composite player, high 3-star rated on 247, 4-star composite kid. Right now we're in his top, I think like 5 or 7, and we're competing with schools like Vandy, Tennessee, Kansas, and Oklahoma. This is one who Louisville's been on for a while. And I mean, between him and, why am I blanking on the young man from Owensboro? He's a Kentucky boy and he's fast.
You can't do that.
If you filibuster for me, I'll get it taken care of because I got to give the credit.
No.
But Anyway, when it comes to getting running backs, especially at Louisville now, I feel like that position's damn near recruiting itself just because of how successful we've had with this youth.
Even if you see another 4 or 5-star, I mean, like say you see a Ruben Owens commit to Louisville. If I'm the second running back they're recruiting, I'm not even batting an eye, you know? Like, I'm like, all right, because, cool. I mean, like, they run 2-back system. All I have to do is come in and do my job.
Hell, we run a 3-back system at this point. Also, I forgot to mention, Kewan Brown looks like he's cut a little bit of weight, increased his foot speed. He looks good.
Good weight? Good weight or bad weight?
Got rid of bad weight. Like, he still looks like he's going to be a cut weight. Yeah. Looks good. And then Jamarice Wilder, the freshman, he runs like Isaiah Pacheco. I love it. That's awesome.
Speaking of
Evan Hampton. Sorry.
I was going to talk. Evan Hampton. I was going to filibuster for you and say Chris Hughes changed his number. I don't know why. I don't know why that sparked my memory on that, but disappointing. I was hoping we were going to see more 48 or
49 or 47. Yeah. No, he's 84 now. He's actually got a receiver number. You know what? He was good enough. I half expected him to have a single-digit number. So, but Evan Hampton, the running back from Owensboro, another one that we've been in talks with. And I mean, if you watch him, he's fast, man. He's got some wheels. But Caden Jones was at the basketball game in Louisville yesterday, was at practice today. A player who was at the open practice on Tuesday, Joel Irvin. And, you know, sometimes high school kids have their listed heights and stuff like that, and they're fluffing it a little. Saw the kid in person. They weren't lying. 6'6", 280. As a large young man. So
you don't have to lie on those numbers. That's the luxury of being that young man.
Kid out of Fort Myers, Florida. The top schools right now on him are Florida, Miami, and that lame school to the east. If we can go get a big ass tackle like that out of South Florida, I'll never complain. Never complain.
Hey, you can do a lot of convincing at those basketball games, man. That's where Reggie Bonifant convinced me it was a good idea to come and play fullback.
Oh, yeah. Well, they had Coach Branch featured on the camera at the game last night, too, in the stadium. So Coach Branch was the one showing the kids a good time.
God.
And we got a couple of kids who are actually already committed.
Super Bowl MVP showing you around. I mean, how lucky are we, Keith? Come on, man.
So how satisfied would you be with this for a flip? 4-star composite, listed as an athlete, 5'11", $170 out of Tampa, currently committed to the Knowles. Darian Williams. Also one who was in attendance last night at practice today, and not the only, now this is going to make you feel old, Vince, not the only committed, or pardon me, he's the only committed player, not the only one who's crystal balled, son of Jermichael Finley, Caden Finley, high 4-star composite wide receiver out of Texas. A Texas legacy player.
That's wild.
Got crystal balls to University of Texas because, of course, his dad, Jermichael Finley, played there, which saying that just my bones hurt.
Matt Leinert's son committed to play quarterback this year, Keith. We're old.
I know.
We're old.
But Caden Finley is a kid, like, if we were able to, one, get him to turn down a legacy school to come here, that would be a sign to me like, oh, we're not screwing around anymore. Right. We're going big game hunting because like the main schools that have been talking to him so far and have had the lead are Texas ATM, and Notre Dame.
I mean, you big game hunt until you can't anymore, man. You have to, especially with this day and age of college athletics and how NIL is. You've got a shot with every single kid out there. You just have to build that relationship. And I think that's what separates us apart from a lot of schools, you know, still is Coach Brom, Coach Branch, all the Coach Broms. I mean, they're able to, and all this support staff, they're able to develop that relationship with the student athlete that, I mean, yeah, we're going to make you money, but we're going to better you as a football player and as a young man at the end of the day. And it's like, how could you not want to go play for that, man?
And also, it's a program that they run like a true meritocracy.
Yeah.
Like, nothing given. Hey, we got two.
He's a Trinity guy. He's going to play the best 11 every time.
I mean, we had two true freshmen take the starting running back jobs away from a couple of transfer running backs that came in.
Yeah.
And also, I guess he's a sophomore, not a redshirt freshman. We had a sophomore who was taking the number 1 center reps on the second day while Nygra's out. Gilliam was in there getting the center. So I guess he beat out Flores the first couple of days. I had to shoehorn Gilliam into the show so you could flex the St. Edward shirt.
Yep, got to.
And of course, the last recruit I'm going to mention who was at the game last night, at the practices today, we got the crystal ball for him that came out yesterday. Jaden Broadnax, D-back out of Boca Raton, Florida, 6'2.5", a $190, shut down corner, composite 4-star. That would be an absolute...
That's a dog.
Yeah. And that'd be a
6'2" at corner, Keith. Like the length on that to be able to jam from that distance and to be able to run and play catch up, to sit there and cover 2 and know that you can sit there and sink and play a little bit more to the flats because you are that long and have that much speed. I mean, I want this kid bad.
Yeah. And how many years in a row have we put corners into the NFL?
Since Jair's been here, we've had a corner go to, then Jair, Cottrell, Jarvis, Storm Duck, now Quincy. That's 5 guys right there that just off the top of my head are in the NFL still.
So pretty strong recruiting resume, if we're going to put it out like that. So we have a crystal ball. There have been some insider sources. Like, I'm not going to give away their goodies. I pay for the information. I'm going to leave it up there. Y'all go find it. Subscribe to a couple of the local ones. Go get the information for yourself. But it has me feeling very optimistic about Broadnax. So
I thought you were going to say nicey. I thought you were going to lean full John Gruden there and go, it's got me feeling nicey.
But who knows? By the time this episode is up and airing, we might hear something on that.
This might be outdated.
Yeah. So Broadnax, we're competing right now. The primary listed schools for competition are Maryland, Syracuse, and Auburn.
Those are all beatable, in my opinion. Those are all schools.
Yes.
Outside Auburn, Auburn is the one that is like meh because it's Auburn and money at the end of the day. SEC.
I get, but at the same point in time, I feel like we have such a coaching advantage over Auburn.
Agreed.
I feel like the coaching difference can level the playing field between us and Auburn when it comes to battling for a commit.
For sure.
Yeah, so 5 recruits. I believe there were a couple more. I didn't want to talk for 30 minutes about a bunch of high school kids who haven't even committed yet, so didn't want to overwhelm you too much, but a few 4-stars to keep your eyes on over the coming months or potentially coming days. So anything else off the top of your head? Burning passion. Do you want to tell us how much you hate Juan Soto?
I think that's very known on this show at this point. But for me, spring ball is always a rough time for me because I tore 2 ACLs during spring ball. It's always I sent y'all the picture, the Snapchat memory every year around this time of having to rehab my knee back for the second time. And, there's always going to be some banged upness that goes on during this. And I always feel for those guys. So it always sucks. But I'm excited as hell for this football team. They look from everything I've heard from everyone, it's fast. They're not skipping a beat, really. Obviously, you're just having your normal day 1, day 2 hiccup stuff. But, I've seen ugly and I've seen bad and heard bad. I was on a 2-10 football team. I know what ugly looks like in spring football and what the media says about ugly in spring football. So I feel very good about these guys. I feel good about the young guys. I'm just excited. I'm ready for football season, Keith. This is the worst time of the year.
Yeah, we're getting that first little taste before the cruel dog days of summer. But we got to savor it. We've got another week and some change before the next open practices.
And the worst is whenever spring ball, like the game hits, because then we're out there tailgating, and I'm like, man, can't wait to do this next week. But no, you can't. Man, I just miss football.
Yeah, we got to savor it while it's here, though. So hold on to it tight like a dear loved friend, and don't let them go until it's appropriate and you've held them too long and it gets awkward.
Football would never look at me that way.
But you know who you can always hold on to? Us here at From the Pink Seats podcast. We'll be coming to you with some more content as the spring and as the dog days of summer go on. So if you haven't already, I know I told you in the middle of the show, but one last time, follow the audio feed, subscribe to the YouTube, leave comments, leave likes. Don't leave dislikes. Come on. We deserve better than that.
We have jobs.
Anyway.
We have enough hard times. We don't need negativity.
So I want to thank you all again for tuning in for another episode of From the Pink Seats podcast with us. On behalf, beautifully Italian Vince Lococo, I'm producer Keith, and as always, go Cards.